Push. Oh, we have been joined by Lisa to talk about Lisa. I think that's appropriate. I'm so excited because today we're talking about the Lisa Eldridge holiday collection release. This just dropped on Friday, and I have to say, if there's one thing that Lisa Eldridge does really well, it is shipping out in no time. I live in the Netherlands, and I think within Europe she actually ships from a warehouse in the Netherlands, so no matter whether I ordered like the expedited shipping or the normal shipping, everything basically arrives the next day. I wasn't really trying to go for expedited shipping this time, but because I was ordering for a couple of people, the amount went quite a bit up and I easily crossed the expedited shipping limit. So that is why I had my package delivered by DHL. But honestly, my friends in the Netherlands who had also ordered from her via the normal shipping, they also received their orders really fast. So thumbs up, Lisa, for shipping. You do that amazingly. But aside from that, Lisa basically blew our minds, I feel like, with this collection. I was not prepared for this. Were you? Be honest with me. Were you prepared for this collection? Because I was frankly expecting really boring eyeshadow palettes and a couple of really nice new velvet lipsticks, from which I'm going to maybe pick up like one or maybe two. But that is not what happened. On the day before the release, Lisa released a video where she basically revealed everything that was coming out, and the biggest shock and surprise to me was how amazing the eyeshadow palettes were. They were nothing that I expected. I expected little quads of mainly neutral colors and mostly matte and like satin shimmer formulas, because I feel like Lisa is known more for her more subtle style, for her more, you know, glam editorial looks, not necessarily for a lot of like sparkle and glitter like Pat McGrath is. But she went ahead and surprised us, and she gave us quite an array of, you know, colors and formulas to choose from. So I want to break down how I'm going to be approaching this collection. I ordered two eyeshadow palettes. I have Sorcery and I have Vega, and I have two lipsticks. I have ordered the colors Sorcery, that goes with the Sorcery eyeshadow palette, and the color Duchess. I will not be able to demo everything for you today because I actually have to go to work and I cannot wear two different eyeballs on my eyes. Plus, to be honest with you, I actually just really want to be able to experience one eyeshadow palette together with one lipstick and just take it all in slowly. So I let you decide on my Instagram stories which palette you would like me to demo first, and frankly I almost thought this was a moot point because I was about 100% sure that Sorcery is going to win by a mile and just blow Vega out of the water. Oh, also as a side note, right now on the European website at least, both the Sorcery eyeshadow palette and the Sorcery lipstick have been sold out, and from what I could gather from Lisa Eldridge's Instagram account and a comment that I saw somewhere, the eyeshadow palettes will not be coming back before sometime in 2023. So that is quite unfortunate, and I don't know that she was really prepared for how much people are going to like the Sorcery eyeshadow palette, because Sorcery I feel like is the one that really stands out compared to the rest, because it contains textures, more glittery eyeshadows that, you know, are not necessarily the style of her target audience, and it's very colorful. So I feel like she was probably not prepared for how loved Sorcery is going to be. Same goes for the lipstick. Actually, the lipstick maybe I would have expected to sell out because it's the most neutral color in the collection, but the eyeshadow palette was probably a surprise for everyone. But like I said, I had let you decide on my Instagram which palette you would like to see first, and it was neck to neck, I tell you. If two of you hadn't texted to tell me that you had made a mistake and you accidentally voted for Vega when you meant Sorcery, Vega was actually going to win. But because of those two extra votes that went to Sorcery minus Vega, Sorcery just about made the cut to win. So today we're going to be doing the look with the Sorcery eyeshadow palette and lipstick, but shan't you worry, I will come back tomorrow to do a look with Vega and Duchess. And by the way, I've been misspelling Duchess this whole time, thinking that there is a T somewhere in between. There isn't. Anyway, without further ado, I think I'm going to just jump right into it. Well, right into it, it's been 5 minutes of rambling, but you know, right into it for my standards. Now, the color Sorcery is the most neutral color out of the whole collection. And when Lisa was describing this color, I was like, oh, this could go either way. I will either love it or hate it. Because the way she was describing this color is like a grungy, 90s brown kind of lip, but with a little bit of pink and mauve to it. And the pink and mauve part is which scared me a little bit, because if this lipstick leans too much to the purple mauve, it will not look flattering on me at all. But because it's Lisa Eldridge and she knows her undertones and she's an incredible storyteller and she always makes you drool over the lipsticks just because of the story behind it, I was willing to give this lipstick a chance, and may I tell you, I love it because I tried it yesterday, so I kind of already know how it performs, but I'm now going to demo it for you. So the first thing we're going to do is swatch it just on the back of my hand so you get an idea of the color. This here is Sorcery. And I think the color pretty much speaks for itself. It is exactly what Lisa Eldridge has described, but I think the best thing we can do now is actually just apply it on the lips so that you can see how it looks on the lips. Yesterday when I tried it on, I fell in love. So this is the shade Sorcery in Broad Daylight. Now, because I feel like my daylight is making this color appear a little bit warmer than it actually looks like in real life, I'm going to pull up my curtains completely and I'm going to turn on my ring light so that you can see it also in artificial lighting. Okay, and here you have the lipstick, I think in somewhat cooler lighting, just so you can appreciate the nuances in the color under different lighting. Just FYI, I didn't color out of the lines, I just have a little like spot over here, excuse me. Okay, so I am back to daylight, so with that we can continue chatting about this lipstick. I am kind of in love with the tones of this lipstick because it is everything that Lisa Eldridge says it is, but in all the correct tones. None of the colors in here are overtaking the rest. There's a bit of brown, there's a bit of like that purple mauve, there's a bit of nude, and it's just so perfectly balanced and it looks so flattering. I really hope that a lot of people are going to enjoy this lipstick and be able to wear it. Like, a lot of truly grungy lipsticks tend to be so cool toned that a lot of people, including myself, tend to shy away just because they look a little bit strange on your lips and clash quite often with your complexion. So to me, this is the ultimate flattering grungy lipstick. I really love this color. I've been thinking since yesterday if I have something in my collection that is a dupe for this, and frankly I cannot think of anything. I'm going to rummage a little bit more and think a little bit more whether I can find something similar, but for now I think the only comparison I'm going to make is between this shade and the shade Affair, because it's the only other like nude velvet lipstick that I have from Lisa Eldridge. A lot of my other colors are quite much brighter, but I'm going to compare this to Affair because then you can see the difference between the two, at least those two. So let me hold up the colors for you. On the left side, on my left side at least, I've got Sorcery, and over here I've got Affair, and you can immediately tell how much warmer and more like caramel toned almost Affair is. I think when you compare the two, it really becomes quite evident how much more purple mauve Sorcery has in comparison to Affair, which is much more, yeah, warm toned and pink toned. I don't want to go out and say nobody has ever made a color like this, you should buy it, but personally I cannot find a single lipstick in my collection that is quite like this one. Most of my lipsticks within that color family are either quite brown or they are quite purple. There is nothing that is like a perfect balance between these two tones. Alright, and now that I've rambled for 22 minutes to just give you some intro and apply that one frigging lipstick, let's move on to the eyeshadow because I still have to actually go to work. So, like I said, Lisa Eldridge has released her first pressed eyeshadows. She does have liquid eyeshadows in her collection since recently, the liquid Lurex. I don't have any of those, but pressed eyeshadows were something that I was very interested in trying from her. So, the eyeshadow palettes come in these cute little boxes, just like the lipsticks, honestly. On the back you have the name of the palette and you have each of the eyeshadows with the ingredients of the eyeshadows. This packaging to me is a piece of vintage luxury right there in my hands, on my vanity and in my drawers, and I just really love the aesthetic of Lisa Eldridge's packaging. It is so beautiful. This is the outer packaging, and as you can see on the back there are these little holes where you can basically poke out the eyeshadows, and this is where I'm going to plug in that aside from these eyeshadow palettes, she's also actually selling all of these eyeshadows as singles, so that you can pop them out and customize and make your own palettes. With that said, she doesn't have the packaging, like the outer packaging, sold separately so that you can just purchase the single eyeshadows and pop them into your own palette. You actually have to buy one of the pre-made palettes in order to be able to buy the singles and then fuck around and make your own ones. So I don't know whether she's planning on releasing that in the future, but I feel like for this release, and based on what she said in her video, it seems like it's important for her that we realize that she has put a lot of effort into curating these eyeshadow color stories for us. So for now we have to be happy with the pre-made color stories. These open quite easily and quite elegantly, and then when you open it, there is of course a little mirror over here, and you have the little plastic protector thing also with the beautiful Lisa Eldridge logo on it. And ta-da! Here you have Sorcery. Let me hold it up for you so that you can appreciate all the colors and the textures in here, and then we're going to swatch it. I just wanted to let you know, so out of all the color stories, I think this is the most adventurous one and the one that contains the highest amount of like sparkly and metallic eyeshadows. It actually lacks one of the matte formulas. She mentioned that she has the seamless matte and the true velvet matte or something, and this one only has one seamless matte, and that is this shade over here. There are quite a few metallic eyeshadows, and there is one luminous duo, which is this shade here, which is a bit more like flaky and duochromy and quite glittery. So without further ado, let's just swatch all the eyeshadows. I'm going to swatch them in this order. So we have Troubadour, Grotto and Madrigal over here. So Troubadour is the seamless matte, which from what I understand is basically like a cream to powder formula. Then we have Grotto, which is a metallic shade, this sort of like silvery smoky forest green shade without being like too green. And then comes one of the most exciting, to me at least, eyeshadows in this palette, which is the color Madrigal, which is this gorgeous antique bronze gold shade, which we are absolutely 100% going to compare to Gigabyte from Pat McGrath. Finally, we have Mercurial, Mage and Swan Song. So Mercurial is the luminous duochrome shade, so this one is quite sparkly and it is a little bit duochromy because it shifts from like a pinky purple to this beautiful light green tone. Then we have the shade Mage, which is a metallic silvery taupe, I would say. And last but not least, we have Swan Song, which is this beautiful like royal blue metallic shade. So here are all the swatches of the eyeshadows in broad daylight, and I'm now going to shine a bit of an artificial light so that you can see that a lot of these have glitter in them. So how do these feel in terms of texture? Are they really special? I don't want to go out and say that she has reinvented the wheel and these are textures that you have never experienced before. But with that said, they are very luxurious eyeshadows. They feel like creams. They are so soft and so silky and so velvety to the touch. But are they really something you haven't experienced before, especially if you love luxury eyeshadows? I don't know, but I definitely think they have their own thing going on because they are extremely smooth and silky to the touch. I was trying to compare the seamless matte formula to the cream to powder formula from Natasha Denona because that's the only other eyeshadow that sort of feels similar. But I feel like these are silkier to the touch, and maybe they remind me a little bit of like the cream to powder formula the few times that it has made an appearance in Pat McGrath's collection. But for the rest, the metallic shades, yeah, they're metallic shades, but they're still very, very creamy. And the glittery shade, although it's glittery, feels very smooth, and I don't expect a lot of fallout with an eyeshadow like that, if that makes sense. Now, I want to make a few, only two comparisons here, because when I saw the shade Mercurial, I immediately thought of this shade here, which is the shade VR Fire Opal from Pat McGrath. Now that I'm seeing VR Fire Opal, I think VR Fire Opal is just brighter in terms of the tones, but the idea will probably be quite similar. So let's see. I'm going to swatch VR Fire Opal right here. VR Fire Opal has a much more like a lime green flip to it. This is much more like a cool toned blue silvery green flip, and the flip of this is more like a lavender purple, whereas the one from Pat is much more pink. And I think the comparison that really everyone is waiting for is the comparison between the shades Madrigal and the shade in the Subversive palette over here called Gigabyte. Gigabyte is 100% a different texture. It's one of Pat's baked shades, and I think in terms of texture it is superior. I'm sorry, Lisa Eldridge, I'm very partial to the baked formula from Pat McGrath, but I'm going to once again swatch the shade Madrigal so that you can see them next to each other on my fingers. So here you have Gigabyte and here you have Madrigal, and they are actually quite different from each other. I think the shade from Pat is much more like a antique bronze gold, whereas this leans a little bit more greenish toned. So let's watch the two again next to each other. We have Mother Pat and we have Lisa Eldridge. The one from Lisa absolutely has more like green golden tones, whereas this is more like golden, like antique golden green tones. So they are actually quite different from each other. There you have it. All right, zooming you in a little bit. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to try to show you looks where they incorporate as many of the colors as they possibly can, but that's not actually what I would like to do. I would actually just like to do simpler looks in a way, just to be able to experience each individual color separately so that I can really get an idea how they work and how they look like and how they perform. So for today's look, I'm actually not going to do something super groundbreaking. I want to try this shade all over my lid and blend it out. This palette doesn't have any transition shades, but from what I understood from Lisa Eldridge's description, you can easily blend any of these metallics out into your crease and they will look flattering and you will not really feel the need for a matte eyeshadow. But what I'm going for today is like a relatively smoky look. So I'm going to start with this seamless matte shadow here, the shade Troubadour. I will put it all over my lid, blend it out through my crease, and let's see how that goes. Hopefully that shade is easy to blend out. Then I'm going to apply this shade over top of that because I'm just so curious about this flaky glittery duochromy goodness. Then I'm going to put this one probably into my inner corners and I'm going to pop this one on my lower lash line. So today's look is going to be a bit of a balancing act between a deep green and a blue. I'm going to go in with my Worker Pro here from Sonia G in order to apply that matte eyeshadow, and it's a cream to powder formula, so supposedly it should be quite easy to work with and it should be quite flattering on the lids, especially if you have more mature lids. Now, formulas like this I feel like are a little bit hard to pick up on a brush, but at the same time there will be no fallout whatsoever. So I'm just going to sort of pat this color here all over my lids, and then I'm going to clean off my brush, and with whatever is left on the brush I'm going to start blending upwards. I don't want to go overboard with such a dark color immediately because I need to also be able to blend it out through my crease. And I think because of that cream to powder formula and because these shades are a little bit more difficult to pick up, you don't really run the risk of applying too much and just having like a full-on blue smoky eye from the first dab of your brush. You can really take your time to shear this out and blend it up, because as you can see, I was able to apply a little bit of color just using my brush and then bringing it up through my crease. It already looks like a much lighter bluish green. So I don't really feel like there is a need to apply anything else. It looks really beautiful and smooth on the lids. So here is just the shade Troubadour, and I think it was just so easy to apply, so easy to blend. There's literally zero fallout. You don't risk any fallout with this. Next I'm going to actually go a little bit with my finger like this, and I'm going to apply a bit more in the base of my lashes and here in the outer corner of the eye, because I want a little bit more color there. It definitely has a very like creamy feeling to it. I would say this is more a cream than it is really a powder. I'm just going to use my finger to apply this shade here, the shade Mercurial, because I cannot wait to put this all over my lids, to be honest with you. It just looks so absolutely magical. So I'm just going to layer that over top of that dark blue shade. It is so, so pretty. And despite the fact that it's glittery and flaky, I'm not really getting a lot of fallout. This is so pretty, I really like this. Next I'm going to grab my soft definer from Sonia G and go into the shade Mage, which is like the silvery taupey shade, to apply here into my inner corners. I don't think this is the best inner corner highlight for me because it is not very brightening. So I'm actually going to apply the tiniest bit of Mercurial over top of that as well, just to see if I can bring a bit more light into my inner corners. But to be honest with you, I feel like even the base of Mercurial is not very light. So in terms of like a true inner corner shade, if you are a little bit lighter in tone like I am, you might not really have one, because this is a little bit too deep for my personal taste. And finally, using again my little Sonia G brush, I'm going to go into the shade Swan Song and run that here on my lower lash line to add a little bit of a blue detail there. You know what I just realized? That Seamless Matte shade, the cream to powder formula that feels kind of like latexy almost, reminds me so much of that dark brown shade in the Guerlain Ombre G-Quad that I have, Royal Jungle. That one feels exactly the same. Zero fallout, very buildable, very creamy and almost latexy feeling. That is the formula that it reminds me the most of. You know, sparkles are my department, so we have to shine an artificial light on this because it is freaking magical. Alright, I am very, very pleased with the final look. It was so effortless, so easy to achieve, so like decadent feeling. With that said, what do I think about this eyeshadow palette? If you buy this for a whole experience. Buy this because you love Lisa Eldridge, because you love her artistry, because you think the packaging is a stunning ode to vintage makeup. Buy it for the colors because you're going to wear these colors. In terms of the formulas, are they unique? I wouldn't go as far as to say that they're super unique on the market, but absolutely 100%. They're very luxurious, very easy to work with, and you basically get what you are paying for, you know. You get that decadence in a little bundle of eyeshadows. So I am really, really pleased with this. I'm going to come back and do more looks with it. I cannot wait to try Vega tomorrow together with the Duchess lipstick. I don't think that there's anything more to say at this point. I think the look and the lipstick speak for themselves. Let me know what you thought about them. Did you pick up any of these? For those of you who haven't received your packages yet, I hope that they're going to come in very, very soon so that you can enjoy your new Lisa Eldridge pretties. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and we shall see each other again very, very soon tomorrow so that we can do a look with Vega. Bye!